Hi Clyde, this is just a bog standard Germany game that I normally do. Starting with what research slots, the best thing to do, no matter what country you're playing, is research these three things first. But some countries don't start with 3 research slots, they start with 4, Germany included. So we're going to research this infantry equipment buff. And a thing to note, always keep up with your research. It's one of the most important things in the game. Now, for the free civs, we're going to build more civs in these 2 states. Didn't mean to open that. And then for the national focus, we are going to just simply do the Rhineland. Now here's the fun part. Free military factories. We are going to get rid of tactical bombers, add more production of fighter and CAS, get a little bit of artillery, and a little bit of anti-air. And for the Navy, we are going to spam these bad boys, Destroyer 2s. To finish sorting out the army, we're just going to select all of them, assign them under a field marshal. I'm just changing the color because personal preferences. And I'm actually going to swap them all to infantry for now. I'm going to use Walter Model as the field marshal. I'm going to take half of those divisions. And what I just did there was I selected his battle plans to be executed aggressively, which basically just means that your divisions take more risks when you're battle planning. For leaders, I'm actually going to go with Fedor von Bock, because although he doesn't start with an infantry trait, infantry traits specifically are very easy to get just by playing the game. And for the other guy, I'm going to go with Evan von Witzelbahn. I'm going to set these guys all up on a defensive order, just in Eastern Germany. No real purpose, that's just what I like doing. And for the Navy, I'm going to combine all of it, send it here, and assign it under Colonel Dunitz. And then we're going to go up to 5 speed and unpause the game. So, we have just finished the Rhineland focus, and what I like to do with the political power gained from it is to immediately get this guy, Joseph Goebbels, because he will up our fascism support. Now, when playing as Germany, you gotta understand that the befriend China and befriend Japan focuses are a waste of time. So we're just gonna go straight over here to 4-year plan. I've just gotten to 100 political power, and I have more than 20 command power, which means I can assign a chief of army. Because we're Germany, we're doing a mainly offensive game, we're going to assign Franz Halder, the army offense guy. He gives all of our divisions extra attack. He actually gives us daily army experience gain, which is useful for doing things such as editing divisions and making equipment better. Right then, we just finished researching electronic mechanical engineering, which means we have a free research slot. Again, keep up your research. I can't stress this enough. We're going to up our make our artillery better. I just finished 4-year plan, and I'm gonna rush down here to extra research slot. So I'm gonna do autarky next. I just finished researching 2 things on the same day, and so I'm actually gonna go for concentrated industry. But you can only choose either concentrated or dispersed. It doesn't change the game too much which one you choose. I just prefer concentrated. Personal preference. What we're going to do with the other research slot is radios. Now, I have enough army XP to change my division template. What I'm going to go to do here is infantry division, add support anti-air, and 1 artillery battalion. Save it. That's going to be our main unit for the rest of the game. And then, going to train a bunch of them, set them to be deployed in Berlin. I just finished researching construction 1, which is the perfect time to begin researching excavation, which in the resource map mode, you can see the resources that our country has. Researching excavation gives us more of these resources. I just finished the autarky focus, which means I'm going to do Ummengoringwerk, KDF Wagen, and get an extra research slot. And if my troops are out before then, I'll actually stop and do Anschluss. With this political power I have, I'm going to get a army advisor, the Silent Workhouse, which gives us more political power gain per day. And I'm gonna continue. I just finished researching interwar artillery. So what I'm gonna do, with this research slot is I'm gonna begin researching concentrated industry 2. Now, although this technology is ahead of time, I'll get a penalty for researching it too soon. It actually isn't that far ahead of time to where it matters too much. Only a third of a year. So I'm going to research it anyway. I just got to 100 political power, so I'm going to go to military high command and add an infantry expert. He'll improve the general effectiveness of our infantry, which will be most of our military. I just finished Home and Going Vec, so I'm going to do KDF Wagen. And 14 of my units are done training, so I'm just going to make them their separate army and add a commander to them. The commander I will be adding is George von Kul. I'm not going to pretend I can pronounce that name, honestly. I have 3 civilian factories, and I actually think I want a few more, so I'm just going to build 1 in all of these southern German states. And once those are done, I will begin building military factories. Just finished researching excavation 1. And personally, I think I'm going to start researching construction 2, just to make our construction speed a little faster. Once again, finished researching radios, so I'm going to get radio detection. Now, I am going to edit the tank division template slightly, so that we actually have 20 width tanks, which are the smallest tank that is still viable for actual use in combat. Later, if we get enough equipment, I will up them to 30 width, though. I just finished KDF Wagen, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to deploy the units I currently have in training, and I'm going to split them among some generals, and I'm going to check. I have 561,000 manpower in the field, which means I have enough men to do the Anschluss, so I'm going to hold off getting that extra research slot for now. And I now have 150 political power, so I'm going to go up to war economy, because that just generally makes our economy better. Alright, I've just done the Anschluss, and there goes the Spanish Civil War. Now, Austria belongs to me, and I'm going to take all 9 of their divisions, convert them to infantry, and I'm going to, once again, divide them up a little between the rest of our generals. And for the next focus I'm going to do extra research slot. I have 3 civilian factories, which means I'm going to just build some mills all around central Germany. I just got 200 political power, so I'm going to get this Blitzkrieg Theorist, which not only makes it easier to upgrade our doctrine, which, makes your military better, but also improves the effectiveness of our tanks. And as Germany, that's useful. Speak of the devil, and the devil shall appear. Let's upgrade our doctrine and move on. I just finished researching concentrated industry, so what I'm going to do is research rubber processing 1. Because as Germany, we're going to need rubber to build a lot of our stuff, and, well, we don't have any. But if we research synthetic rubber, what we can actually do is make, synthetic rubber. Now for research, because I just finished 2 more, I'm going to research both maintenance and logistics companies. And now I have another research slot. For this, I'm actually going to do the next expansion focus, which is reassert Eastern claims. And with this available research slot, I'm going to, once again, make our industry better with improved machine tools, which allows us to build stuff quicker. Just finished researching construction 2, and you know what we're going to do? Excavation 2. I have 3 military factories, so I'm going to add 3 to towed artillery, 2 to anti-air, and 5 to light tanks, 3 to trucks. In this menu, the grayed out factory are ones that you don't have yet, meaning they're queued to be set to that item, that thing you're producing, whenever the factory is constructed. So, as this works like a queue, if I were to say take support equipment and move it down, now artillery will gain factories before support equipment. But if I move it back up, support equipment will gain factories before artillery does. So on and so forth. I am actually going to go over to our tank division and do two more things. I'm going to replace engineer companies with support anti-air, and I'm going to remove... Oh, no, I'm not going to do that. And now we have 20 with tanks. And on this side, you will see the equipment cost, which, well, it's how much equipment you need. And we have equipment to build 2 tank divisions, so that's what I'm going to do. And I have free civs again, so I'm going to build some more mills. And after the queue, I'm going to build some refineries because, well, they're not going to build themselves. 150 political power, I'm going to up my conscription, get more manpower. Just done reassert Eastern claims, and I don't have enough men in the military to continue this side of the focus tree, so I'm going to go over here and do army innovations. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to deploy these tanks before they're ready, and I'm going to assign Evan Rommel to them, give him the trait Guerrilla Fighter, which allows him to entrench quicker, and I'm going to send volunteers to the Spanish Civil War. I know I can send up to 4, but I'm only going to send these 2 tanks. They're now on their way to Spain, where I can not only upgrade Evan Rommel, but also upgrade the divisions themselves, make them more effective in combat. And I'm going to begin researching better support equipment. I'm going to send 1 division around, 1 division from there, to attack this tile. That tile has now been pushed, and I'm going to assist in that push as well. My goal here is to encircle all of these Spanish troops, which I have successfully done. Now I'm going to do horse attack so that their attack is better, and I'm going to upgrade my doctrine to elastic defense, as well as do the focus coal liquidization. Coal liquidization in itself isn't very great, but synthetic rubber gives a lot more extra rubber from refineries. As well, I'm going to research improved infantry equipment. Now, I can't guide you on exactly what to do in the Spanish Civil War, in that I can get another doctrine, and I'm going to be using a lot of tanks this game, so I'm going to do Blitzkrieg, which improves the effectiveness of our armored vehicles. I have free civilian factories, so I'm going to build a couple more synthetic refineries, and after that in the queue, more civs. I'm going to research fuel refining too, as well as improved computing machine. Also, I forgot to do this earlier, but I'm going to add Evan Rommel as an armor expert, or armor genius, which will improve the effectiveness of our tanks once again. And now I'm going to research synthetic rubber. I'm going to train more infantry, and soon enough, nope, never mind. Just going to move these divisions to attack that guy, since there's only one of them. I'm going to assist in that push, and that is, by the looks of it, 3 more units encircled. 3 Soviet volunteer forces, which are actually better than the Spanish infantry, so it's nice to get them out of the war. Research slot available. Since I have this 300% research buff, I'm going to get better rubber. And the thing is when you push along these railroads you see on the map, it actually makes your attack stat higher. Now, let's say I was attacking into the side of a railroad, that doesn't change anything. But attacking along the railroad, as though you were a train going across it, helps a lot. Now I'm going to add Himmler as a Prince of Terror because he helps lower resistance in occupied territories, which very useful as Germany. Finish synthetic rubber. And let's see, can I deploy these units? I can. Meaning, gonna once again put them over here. Get a general. I think I'm gonna go with Wilhelm Ritter von Lieb. Assign them all onto the Czechoslovak border to make the chance of them saying yes higher. And I'm going to do Demand Sudetenland. Back over here in the research tab, I'm gonna research that. One day later, I've finished researching improved infantry equipment. Now, I'm used to playing with DLCs, so I don't actually know what to research at this point. So, I'm going to accept the ahead of time bonus and research the MP38. Civilian factories, I'm going to go back to building militaries. Now, if the Czechs accept the Sudetenland, and they give it to you, they actually can't deny you fully taking them, or whatever you plan on doing with them. Their AI doesn't allow themselves to deny it. So, we're just going to send the troops back off the border, because it won't matter. For civilian factories, we're going to build more mills. And political power, we're going to get a ground support chief of Air Force. And we actually still have more, so what I plan on doing is army logistics, so that division attrition in the Soviet Union is lower. And that's the first Vienna Award. We are now going to do the fate of Czechoslovakia. I have free civilian factories, you guessed it, gonna build more mills. And we're gonna keep building mills until the game tells us that we need more rubber. And as you can see, just from building those refineries, we have gained a lot of rubber. Now, the fate of Czechoslovakia. If you want, you can take it all, or set up Slovakia as a puppet state, which is the historical thing. But I like to partition it with Hungary. Because if you do that, Hungary will actually join your faction. And for the next national focus, I'm going to go back over here. Reichsautobahn. Available planes in reserve. Let's just add fighter and CAS. We're going to go over here. Deploy them all. Select the entire Air Force. Send them all to Berlin. We're actually going to divide them up. Now these are the fighters, so we're going to want them all very close. CAS we're also going to want close. These guys are going to go for Western Poland on the mission's air superiority and close air support. Now the thing is we do not have these two states in Czechoslovakia as cores, so I'm going to assign my military to also defend those two states, just to keep the resistance lower. Once again, I can change my government, so what I'm going to do is add a tank designer, and we're going to do mobile tanks, because a mobile tank is a light tank. Now, I've been building a lot of mills, meaning that more of my civs are going to consumer goods, so I'm just going to build 4 more civs, and then the mills will be back on track. Alright, I've been training a full army of infantry, and it's almost done, so I'm just going to deploy it, assign it here. Now I have 5, either almost full or full armies of infantry. I'm going to assign Johannes Blaskowitz as another one, and I'm just going to count up how many more divisions of infantry I would need to max all this out. Now if I deploy these 12 infantry divisions, we will have the full army group filled up. Typically, you want at least 5 full armies of infantry by the start of the war, and you want at least 8 when you start the war with the Soviets. Gonna assign most of my army over to an action. And I forgot about the French. What I'm going to do with these 12 divisions I'm training isn't actually fill up these armies. I'm going to create another one and put it on the border with the French. For the next focus, we are going to do German war economy because it is still 1938. I would like to build up some more before I go to war. Finished researching artillery. We're going to change the outdated equipment that's now in production. And we are going to go over here to advanced machine tools, start researching. And the thing with your planes is really all you want to build are fighters and CAS. Fighters are what get you air superiority, and CAS actually damage the enemy divisions, which makes them effectively worse in combat. Now, this army is half trained, so I'm just going to deploy it, assign it to just the worst general I have because, well, this army won't exist after France. Not going to actually attack with them. This just gives them a planning bonus by setting a actual plan for them. My tanks have been deployed, so I'm going to cancel production of them. Assign these tanks over to Erwin Rommel. Put them there on the Polish border and assign them to attack across the Polish corridor. I do have enough equipment to do this, so I am going to make these divisions 30 widths, which means they're generally better in combat, and they're actually suffering from attrition over here in Königsberg, so I'm going to make the railway leading to them a little bit better. Now, in all honesty, I've forgotten to build trains, so we're just going to add those, and I'm actually going to put 2 more factories onto support equipment, and that is treaty with the USSR done. Let's see if they accept. They accept, which means I now pretty sure I should actually cancel this. So let's just assign it to something else for no apparent reason. And now there's a 100% research bonus on it, meaning we will get it in 100 days quicker. Now I'm going to do one more focus before we begin, which is Army Innovations 2. Just so that we can get even more of our doctrine done. And now at this point, it is June 1939, and we're going to start the war by doing the focus, Danziger War. We can up our doctrine by 2 more because of the bonuses given by Army Innovations 2. Alright. So in preparation for the war, what we're going to do is assign this guy to convoy raid in these 2 areas. And we're gonna hope that's enough, because I genuinely have no clue. Alright, Poland refuses German ultimatum. Let's immediately begin doing around the Maginot. And now we have the war goal on them, and we can start. So I'm going to set these 3 guys off, not this guy, because he's on the French border. And we're going to declare war on Poland. Key thing, don't call in your allies, because Italy and Hungary will both try to take stuff in the peace deal, and you don't really want that. But if you want to give them land, just call them in right before you get the peace deal. And while we're talking about this, about getting the peace deal, let's just... Okay. Now, about getting the peace deal. In this war tab, you'll see this button. If you click this button, you'll see only countries that are considered a major nation. What you have to do to win the war is capitulate all major nations in the opposing faction. So, in this example, I need to capitulate the UK and France to win this war. Anyway, let's continue. Italy wants to send Lend-Lease. Why wouldn't we accept it? And let's just check the air map. And, well, the air map is doing the glitch where you can't really tell, but over here it says our air superiority is 81%, so went in without a problem. For military factories, because we're going to be conquering land here, so we're just going to be getting them. we're just gonna generally add stuff. Okay, I've now done around the Maginot, so I have war goals on all of those countries. And what we're going to do is air innovations. Evan Rommel, we'll give him Panzer Expert because he's leading tanks. And as Poland capitulated, because I didn't do Molotov-Ribbentrop, the Soviets aren't going to ask for this land. And now we're going to move these units over to the Netherlands, along with this army. And the rest of the army can just chill back on this fallback line for a little while. If you select units and press B, they will do strategic redeployment. And what this does is it makes them move faster by not only taking faster routes, but also straight up moving faster. But the downside is that their organization will be very low when they get to their destination, which is a sacrifice I'm willing to make. What? This is weird. We're gonna establish Vichy France, and I don't know, that kind of just broke the game. But France now capitulates. What we should actually be doing is beginning the planning of a naval invasion. And the thing is I forgot to research better naval invasion tech, so we can only invade with 10 units total. So we're gonna send 4 into here. Going to send 4. No, we were going to send 3 into the tile next to it. And then 3 into the other tile next to it. And that'll be our naval invasion plans. Going to go to the Navy, select there, select that guy. And still not winning there, but we are winning in the eastern North Sea. And I have more fighters to deploy, so I'm going to deploy them. As well as Cass. What we're going to try to do here is once these all deploy, we're going to set them over the English Channel, doing air superiority and naval strike. National focuses. We are going to... I don't know. Let's do a... reintegrate Luxembourg and Alsace-Lorraine. Take out Denmark. And we're actually not going to even bother invading Norway. We are going to declare war on them, but we're not going to bother properly invading. And now, because of course Denmark is really strange, all of my tanks got unassigned from the actual front that they're meant to push to. We'll take 3 units there. We're just going to take Copenhagen, and they've now capitulated. We're going to add Denmark to the garrison order of the ports. I'm going to give this guy infantry expert. Put the Navy back over here. And what we're trying to do here is sink the British fleet. So here we got a submarine. Here we just lost some planes. Here we got 3 British and 3 Dutch submarines. Here we got 4 Dutch submarines. Here we got some more submarines and some convoys. Here we got pretty much nothing. And here we got some more submarines. Not bad for how little time we've spent on that. Just going to declare war on those guys. And we're actually going to assign this entire army over to the, once all these guys move, we're going to take the tanks, put them in Padi. I don't know why I said it like that. And then once all of these guys move, not all these guys have moved, I'm actually going to delete their order on garrisoning this stuff so that I can move this entire military over to Wilhelmshaven. Because once I do that, I'm actually able to just send the entire army over to Britain once they land. Oh shit, I didn't expect it, but we actually got the naval invasion off. We are going. And that is taking out the Allies. There is a DLC. It's called By Blood Alone, and if you have it, there are more buttons in this peace conference, such as the Take Navy button, which is really useful, but obviously we're playing with those off, so they're not there. I'm going to confirm an exit, and we are now at peace with a war goal on Yugoslavia, and that's just a very basic way to take out the Allies.